everyone.
Hi, everyone. Oh, I see people's faces popping up.
Nice to see you all.
Good evening to you if you are in Korea time, and good afternoon if you're European time, and good morning to you if you're in the US. Hopefully that's covered 3 major time zones. I know there's probably more. But welcome, everyone. Welcome. You guys all joined on time. Actually, some people joined 15 minutes early and we were still rushing around trying to sort out our background and our lighting. Luckily, we got everything set up and ready.
Yeah. Can everyone hear us and see us okay? Maybe Alice should move across it slightly.
Oh, I think I'm okay. Yeah. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your time. We know everyone is super busy. We know there's probably lots of better things that you could be doing with your time on a Sunday. And it's actually Father's Day, I think, in the UK and the US. So thank you for joining. We're really happy to have you here. Diana and I have been so looking forward. Like we've been thinking about this for about 2 months now. Ever since I think April time, we really wanted to do this. And some of you guys gave us the idea to do this as well. We did a Girl Boss last year. And so we really wanted to do this again. So welcome to Empowering You How to Be Your Own Boss by Inspire Me Korea. And my name is Alice, if you didn't know that.
And I'm Diana.
And welcome. And I just wanted to do a little bit of housekeeping and explain a bit about how today's session is going to run. So firstly, please comment your name and what time it is and where you're from right now in the chat box so everyone can get to know each other a little bit. And please do just place yourself on mute unless you have something urgent to tell us. If something's not working, just if you could place yourself on mute. Otherwise, do go ahead and let us know. And the structure of today's talk really is going to be 90 minutes roughly. Hopefully we won't run too over time. I know there's a lot to discuss though, so we'll try our best to keep it to 90 minutes. Essentially the first half, Diana and I are going to give a talk about our journey with Inspire Me Korea. We've been through many things, ups and downs, and we really want to share it with you guys. And a lot of you Inspire Me's have been with us for a long time, so you guys might know some of this already. But we really wanted to go in depth today and really talk about some things that we don't normally get to talk about on Instagram Live, some really, I guess, more details and kind of juicy little secrets about how we made it this far. And the second half of the session is going to be Q&A. And some of you guys have already submitted some really great questions, really thought-provoking ones that we've already noted down and prepared for. So we're going to be going into those questions and answers in the second half. So that's how today's going to run. Hopefully I've covered everything. Oh, I'm going to admit 2 more people. And if I look down at my phone, it's because I'm actually controlling Zoom from my phone. So I'm going to be
Alice is the host.
I'm the host and Diana's the MC. So I don't know how that works, but cool. Yeah. So 2 more people have joined. So we can get started.
I can see there's a lot of comments as well. Some of you are introducing yourselves. So that's really lovely to see. Maybe Alice can look at it. In the meantime, I just wanted to let you know that this is a recorded session just because we thought that we really wanted to keep this as a memory for ourselves. We might put it on YouTube maybe at some point. We haven't decided yet. But it's pinned our video right now, so you won't be showed in it if you're worried about that. I'm not sure if it will show like the really small corner of you all, so that might happen, and if it does, I will contact you directly and double check if it's okay. Any comments?
I actually can't see the comments on my phone, weirdly. I don't know why.
Yeah. Also, you can drop any questions that you have for us into the chat box and we will answer them in order. But we've already received some questions before this event started. So we're going to answer those in order first. And if we get time, we'll answer the questions that's in the chat box.
I figured it out. I've got the
Yes.
Yes. Everyone's just introducing themselves and where they're from. So welcome everyone once again. And in the interest of time, since we're already 7 minutes in, let's jump right in. So I guess the first thing we wanted to talk about is our origin story. So some of you may know this, but we're going to bear all. So Diana, why don't you jump into the origin since you are the original?
I am the origin of the story. So yes, as mentioned, I'm Diana, and I studied at university, and I graduated at the age of 21 in London. And at the time, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I actually studied a mixed course, which is a bachelor's of arts and science. So usually you get a bachelor's of arts or science or something else. But mine was a mixed course. So I studied a bit of everything. I studied geography, politics, economics, business, marketing, Japanese, and what else? There was more. Entrepreneurship, societies. Everything was really interesting to me. So I wanted to study a lot of things. But like most people who studied that course didn't really know what they want to do. It was not specific enough. And so like them, I also didn't know what I wanted to do, but I decided to take a trip to come to Korea. And at the time, I realized that I had friends in the UK who are crazy K-pop fans, not in a bad way. They were just really interested to know about K-pop, but also what real life is like in Korea. And they couldn't, because of many reasons, they just couldn't travel to Korea. So they could only experience Korea through a screen. And I felt like it was such a shame because I was able to experience Korea in person, and I wanted to share that with those friends in some way. And I saw so many beautiful places and things, and I felt like if only I could bring these things and bring it to them, bring these stories and the experiences that I had in Korea and share it with them, how amazing that experience would be. It would open up the doors of not just K-pop, but there's more beyond K-pop. And like, even if you watch K-dramas, there's even more behind the scenes of K-dramas, and also just seeing the reality of what it's like in Korea. So I went back to the UK and I had my graduation ceremony. And one day before my graduation ceremony, I said to Alice and to my mom, our mom, that I really wanted to start this business. It is going to be a subscription box, and that's because I studied about subscription box model in my business course, in one of the modules that I did in university. And I thought it was such a great idea for a business model, and I wanted to make it to do with Korea. I wanted all different elements in it, including something educational so that these K-pop fans can learn about culture, language, and history, and also have something tangible, something to taste, and something to see, touch, feel, try, beauty products, all of that. And Alice, who's my older sister, and my mom are very wise, and they both said to me, don't do it. They said, you're too young, you never had any experience, don't do it. And I really had no experience. I only had a part-time job doing retail in duty-free shops. So I was selling some beauty products at the time. So I know a bit about beauty, but yeah, not enough about business in real life. And so Alice was like, I don't think that's a good idea for you. But actually, this is a bit of a deeper story that I never shared publicly. But our grandma actually passed away during the time when I was in Korea. And it was a really sad time for us because our grandma lived with us pretty much our whole lives. And so it was a big turning point in my life, that point, and also my graduation. And because this kind of collided, actually, the day before my graduation day was our grandma's funeral. And on that day, I came up with this business idea. So I felt like this was something that my grandma really wanted me to do, and some kind of last gift to me. So I decided that I have to do it. So despite what my sister said and my mom said, I was like, I'm going to do this. But my mom was very, very against it, that I actually hid everything that I was doing for a good few months. I did it at night in bed. At like, yeah, my mom thought I was sleeping and I was working in my bed. I had a part-time job that I mentioned in duty free. I was doing that in the daytime. I was also doing interviews for full-time jobs, as well as at night doing Inspire Me Korea. And yeah, Inspire Me Korea just came as a name that I don't know why. I just felt like it sounds good.
I don't even remember the other names. This
Yeah.
is the name we were like, this is it.
And the tagline, Embrace Your Soul, was just, it
That
was just
came
it.
to you straight
Yeah.
away. Yeah, I remember that.
And then I remember at my part-time job in duty free, you can like press to print receipt paper. So anyone who worked in retail, I guess, you can just press a button and like receipt paper just comes out. So I'd use that as paper to sketch down my ideas because I didn't have enough time at nighttime to work on my business. So I started using these papers to draw out, and I sketched out this logo here. And I also drew out the whole building's logo that you probably have seen on our box, the top of the box. So that was all done at my part-time job. And a lot of ideas I had about the themes and what contents go into every box. I did it at my part-time job. So whenever there was no customers, I would just get paper and hide behind the counter and start drawing and sketching ideas. Yeah, you have to when you don't have enough time, So that is a bit of like a glimpse of being a boss, is like you have to use your time efficiently. And if you love it so much, you have to make like every moment about the thing that you want to do. So even I was standing there are some times where I was told like I just have to stand there and greet customers, but I kept thinking about things. Like in my head I was planning everything, and then I was like, I'll quickly like note this down on my paper before I forget, and then I'll just stand there again, and it will look like I'm just like phasing out, but I'm thinking so many things in my head.
I think a lot of people on this call right now, if you're thinking about starting your own business, which I'm assuming a lot of you are, you'd know that if you have an idea, you can't stop thinking about it, right? And so you're just constantly firing off like, what can I do? What can I do? And then even if you're doing other things in your life, you're going to be like on the side, just jotting down notes and making notes on your phone and maybe recording voice notes to yourself these days. I think that's really good to like just constantly be thinking and be like jotting down and like having ideas and then filtering through and seeing which ones are the best. But some of the best ones come to you and they're going to be the like ones that stick, right? Like the name and stuff. And I didn't actually know this story about grandma like inspiring you. No, really? until later. I mean, you told the story afterwards. I was like, how did you not know? No, like at the time I didn't know that because we were both going through very different things, and like my side of the story was so different. So I graduated in internet engineering, and I fell into marketing after I graduated because I really didn't like coding. I studied programming at university and I hated it. So I was like, I'm not going to be a programmer. And then I fell into marketing, and I worked for a media agency for a couple of years, and then I worked for a very famous fashion brand called All Saints in London for a few years as well. And at the very time that you graduated and grandma passed away was when I also had my own epiphany, which I think you didn't know that much about because we didn't talk that much, right? We didn't actually, funnily enough, like we've been, sisters our whole lives, obviously, but like co-founders for 6 years and travel buddies, best friends, whatever, like for a while now. But 7 years ago, we didn't actually talk that much. Like we didn't get on very well. I'd say we lived very separate lives. So I think maybe if some of you guys are thinking of going into business with friends or siblings, it can be that you go from like not knowing each other very well to suddenly like knowing each other very, very well because of your business. So we literally never really spoke that often. And what I was going through was my own little journey of really hating my job. And for some of you guys who have the whole 9 to 5, before COVID started, obviously going into the office every day, I hated going into my job because I really didn't enjoy it. The people there were nice, but I just didn't find it fulfilling. And I felt like for some reason something was missing. And I'd been at that job for almost 3 years. And grandma passed away, and I was going through some things myself. And actually was dating a guy that just like decided to end things with me because he got a job in Hong Kong. So I was like, great, awesome timing. So all of that collided, and I decided that I don't want to live like this anymore. Like I remember the exact afternoon I was going shopping in East London, and I thought to myself, if things can happen like this, someone can just decide to quit their job and go to another country and start a new life. If my grandma, who lived a great life, she passed away at 98, can also teach us something, that is that we have control over our lives and our destiny. And I was like, I have enough money to do something different. And I have a fortunate life where I have family and friends here in London. I don't have to live this life. And so I thought, I'm going to travel. Yeah, I'm going to do it before I get too old. So I thought I'm going to go and I'm just going to quit my job and go traveling. And so the next day, that was Sunday afternoon, next Monday morning, I handed in my notice and said, I'm going to quit. And I had a 3-month notice period. So I had plenty of time to get ready and get everyone around me ready. So I told my family, and I told you and mum, and I said, I'm just going to get a one-way ticket. I'm going to go to Southeast Asia. I'm going to experience whatever there is to experience out there. I'll see you guys later. I don't know when I'm going to come back. And at this very moment,
and Alice bought a bunch of these like backpacks and sleeping bags and tent things.
Towel,
I was like, are you sure?
I was so sure. I spent 3 months using spreadsheets to do a finance tracker of how my finances are going to go, what things to, like, so many packing lists, to-do lists, things I had to take care of before I left. I was so excited for this trip. And then at that exact moment, Diana came to me with this idea, Inspire Me Korea. And I said, look, firstly, you should go and work for someone else before you start your own business, because it's not a good idea to start your own business fresh out of university because you don't know anything. And actually, in my past experience, I missed this out, but I actually had a previous business doing Korean fashion with my friend. We ran that for 2 years. Whilst doing a full-time job. And that tired me out so much. And it was fun, but it didn't work out in the end. And it was kind of sad shutting it down. I still am best friends with my friends. Thank God we didn't fall out. But that was definitely a journey. And I said to Diana, look, it's not easy. You think this is easy. It's not. I don't think you should do this. But then Diana was so like persistent, and she kept telling me it's going to work, trust me. And I was like, why would people want to order boxes with Korean things in it? Why would anybody want that? But then, you know, you were so persistent. I actually admired
these
it.
people
these people who are on here right now.
These people want it.
So I sat down with you, right? You came over to my flat like every week.
Yeah.
We had sessions. We were
like
on
an
Google
hour
Drive.
And a half away.
Yeah, you traveled far to come to me. We were on Google Drive, setting up Google Docs. I got my friend involved. We were doing the logo. We started designing what the website might look like. And I came up with the idea for the magazine. That's an idea I came up with, right? So that 36-page magazine you guys enjoyed for the best part of 5 years, that was my idea. And then Diana pretty much did everything else. Like we worked a lot on the business stuff, getting the business plan and all of that kind of stuff. And then I said, look, it's November now. You know, it was August when I quit my job. It became November. You were working all throughout that time on it, and I helped out. And then I said, I'm gonna have to go backpack now. This was my plan. So I left with the idea that an intention that I would help you out along the way. But what happened was Southeast Asia is actually an amazing distraction. So I didn't have a lot of time when I was, you know, going to Thai islands and like learning how to scuba dive and doing all those fun things. I realized that I really dropped my responsibility to you. And I've told you this in the past, that I'm sorry that I didn't live up to my end of the bargain, but you were working super hard and like sleeping on the floor and stuff, doing that like for 6 months. You built Inspire Me Korea. I went away for 7 months. I came back in June. Almost 8 months. I came back in June. Diana had freaking launched Inspire Me Korea for 3 months. It launched in March 2016 and I came back in June 2016.
Yeah. So at the time, as we already said, we were not that close, and we didn't understand each other's like thought processes. Like, why did you do this? Why did you even go backpacking? Like, I have no idea. We didn't talk that much. So I didn't understand like why she's doing things. I think if I understood that, it would make more sense. But before Alice left, she promised that she's going to help me do the things that I need because she has more experience. So I relied on her a lot at the time. I asked her, could you research this? And could you fill in this spreadsheet? You're in Thailand. I found a supplier for packaging in Thailand, which is really cheap. And I said, it's not far from you. Could you send me like your location? And she sent me her location, and I was like, oh, it's literally like 20 minutes from you. You could walk or you could take a bus. And then she was like, I'm not going. It's too hot outside. And I was so annoyed. Yeah. You were in the hotel at the time. I think we did some video call before that or afterwards. And like at that point, I was just disappointed because I expected a certain standard when we agreed something like together before she left.
Diana swore. Yeah. And I've never heard Diana swear before. That's probably one of the biggest conflicts we've ever had. And I was like, how dare you not understand that I'm in Thailand right now? I'm sweating my ass off right now. Sorry to cuss. But yeah, we definitely clashed a lot. And I think we'll go into it later, but like in terms of personality types, I think that's a really big thing. And over time, we've both been able to hone our personalities to be able to best suit each other for conflict management. I think that's really important when you're going into business with someone else, to really understand what would stress them out and what would make them angry and how to resolve that. So I think at first we had no idea, and I was pissing her off so much and she was pissing me off so much, and that was not a good way to start.
But that was the worst of it. I stopped talking to Alice for a while because she
6 months.
she kept sending like photos and videos in our family group chat, and I was like, yeah, have fun in Thailand, okay, enjoy your mangoes. Right. But she kept sending these things, and I just ignored it because I was
didn't
so
understand
focused.
why you were so
Yeah.
vacant
Yeah.
from my journey. I was like, how dare you not like celebrate the fact that I'm backpacking solo in Southeast Asia
And eating
still
coconuts.
making it alive, coming back. Yeah, I was really proud of making it back. But yeah,
so we launched, so I launched Inspire Me Korea actually February the 6th, 2016. And yeah, I didn't expect it to be such a big thing, but I actually made a launch party, and my friends joined, some customers joined, some people like related to work also joined, and I was really pleased with how it turned out. I felt so proud of myself, and I video called Alice that day before Alice video called me. Well, anyway,
yeah, I was really proud that day because we had been missing from each other's lives for so long, and then suddenly I was like, oh my god, you did it. Like I didn't check in with you for a couple months, and you finally did it. And I really was so astounded. I remember being in Cambodia at the time, and I was on the beach, and I told all the friends that I had met drinking a coconut, and I told all the friends the new friends that I'd made at that place, that you had really started your own business. And I was like, I can't wait to go home and like join her, because I originally helped her out a little bit along the way.
When Alice said that, I was like, I don't think so. I didn't believe her. But how I managed to launch it was basically I had to make a deal with my mom. So for the first 3 months, I was doing that thing of working late at night and doing it secretly. And then I kept getting sick. I got sick at least once a month. And I said to my mom that I can't do this anymore. I had to do interviews for full-time jobs that I wasn't planning on doing. Like I didn't want that. But my mom said that she thinks that I should. So I did it, but without any intention of getting the job. So I had a few offers, but I actually turned them down, and I didn't tell my mom. And then
did you?
Yeah, but I really didn't want to do them. And then the 3 months passed, and I said to my mom, look, I'm getting sick. Like I'm getting sick every month, and I can't do this anymore. So please just give me 3 more months and let me do the part-time job so that I can earn money, and let me work on Inspire Me Korea for the rest of the time. And after 3 months, if I don't launch it, if I don't show any progress, no one buys it, no followers, then I will give up and I'll just do whatever job you want me to do. And she said, okay, that sounds decent. 3 months, fine. And so, yeah, by the 3rd month, exactly, I launched it on that day. And my mom came to the launch party, saw how there are lots of friends who were interested in Korea. They were dancing the like K-pop choreographies. And she was like, wow, like there are actual people who are going to buy your box.
And you had 50 paying customers in the first month, right? That was so surprising, shocking, actually. And like, yeah, that was awesome. That means like you managed to build a wait list. People actually wanted this product, and it was only 6 months after you'd come up with the idea, which is really fast.
Yeah. But that was not without struggles. As Alice mentioned earlier, I did fall asleep on the floor several times because I was just so exhausted. I had nosebleeds, and I was just so stressed out sometimes, but I had a lot of fun as well, in a lot of ways. And it was just something that I really wanted to do. But yeah, we'll go into that a bit more.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, I mean, just to tie it all back in, like our mission, for a lot of you, I think you already know, following us on Instagram. But really, when I came back from backpacking, and we had many long discussions, right, after I'd settled back in and really got to know the business operations and how Inspire Me Korea is doing, we were like, let's dream a reality. Like, what are we going to do for customers? Like, how are we going to change the world? Like, we had really great conversations about how we're going to really make a difference. I think that was the stuff we enjoyed the most. And we thought Inspire Me Korea has got to be about bringing the world together. And aside from showing people that there's more to Korea than K-pop, we really wanted to inspire people to learn about different cultures. And that's where Inspire Me World came about. So this only was about 3 or 4 months after Inspire Me Korea launched. We knew we were going to do Inspire Me World. And this came from half kind of your ideas and also my experience backpacking. beginning, I just felt like sharing culture is such a beautiful thing. And I really, really saw the advantages and benefits of when people come together and actually understand each other, how that can create more harmony in the world. And we really just dreamt of this like grandiose vision of like inspiring people to learn about each other and creating more harmony. And that became our mission. And I think, yeah, we'll get into this a bit later, but having a mission that you believe so much in that you're willing to sacrifice almost anything is really the motivation to keep you going when times get tough, and times got really tough. Yeah, right. So yeah, so in terms of the we want to talk a bit about the simplified like 5-year summary. So we've been operating for about almost 6 years now, and we've been through a lot of ups and downs, but throughout the time we've launched subscription boxes, which were every month different themed. As many of you know, there were really fun themes, from like cooking boxes to art boxes to K-pop boxes. Every month we had so much fun curating different themes, right? And sorry, I just need to let a few people in. Could you continue? I just don't want people to miss
this is how co-founders work. You can finish the other person's sentence. Yeah. So it was really tough though, preparing like different themed boxes every month, because it's basically a new product every single month. And there is a set deadline for it. It must be at a certain date. This theme changes. And so we were constantly like under this massive pressure of having to prepare everything. And as you know, the contents of the boxes were different. So we had different suppliers each time. There were some that were not trustworthy, but we didn't know because we were using them for the first time. A lot of shipping issues, shipping products from Korea all the way to UK warehouse, packing them. Also warehouse issues of the actual packing process. I mean, there's a lot of things that can go on at each step. Can we just
double check all mics are muted, please? Yes, just want to double check everyone's mic is muted.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. So I just wanted to summarize a bit more about the 5-year journey. We've done a lot of one-off boxes. We did lots of special edition boxes, collaboration boxes. Wamisa was one of our first ones. We also invited Joan Kim, the influencer, to London to do meet and greet. So we've done a lot of influencer activity as well. We've done our own expos. We've done about 7 or 8 Hyper Japans, about 5 or 6 MCM Comic Cons in London. Manchester. Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, we did Film Comic Con as well. We've done so many events. We've hosted our own kimbap party. We did a cinema party. For the original OG Inspire Me's would know that in London we did many events all around. Did some like K-pop parties, karaoke parties as well. We really tried our best to meet Inspire Me's in person if we could, because it really gave us a lot of energy seeing our customers in real life. But also we launched a lot of things. We tried a lot of things on you guys. You know, we definitely launched our own K-pop shop for a while. Remember that? We had a K-beauty, like K-beauty boxes for a while. What else did we do? We did our BTS t-shirt line, like BTS nickname t-shirt line.
We had a Line Friends collaboration box.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah. So it's been really interesting 5 years, just learning about our audience, learning about the K-pop fans. Like the fandom has grown to 100 million in the world now. And I think when we started, it must have been under 80 million. Like it's grown phenomenally. And I think when we started, BTS wasn't even that big. They were big, like, I guess in their own way, but like it wasn't internationally known. So it was really interesting seeing the K-pop wave. I think when I had started my Korean fashion business, Psy's Gangnam Style had just come out. So it was like so interesting seeing that huge wave, and then it kind of like died down, and then like it went up again as we were doing this. So this is like, it was a really fun 5 years. So that was the kind of simplified 5 years. And then the last 9 months, it's been textiles, right? It's been all about textiles. And a lot of you on this call will know about textiles. We've been talking about it a lot. Like, you want to...
But if you don't know what Techstars is, it's basically one of the biggest accelerator programs in the world. It's a global accelerator program. And what that means is that they pick really high potential startup companies at early stages who have high potential and chance to succeed and become a unicorn, which is basically a massive company. And they chose several companies in each batch of their startup programs, and they are run in all different cities as well in the world. So we were chosen, and it was like less than 1% of the applicants get get through. But we were chosen for Textiles Korea. So we came last year in the summertime to attend Textiles Korea program. And what the program does is that there are several different workshops throughout the 3.5 months. There's also mentoring, and there's actually a mentor madness phase. That's what they call it. And it is really madness. So you meet about 4 to 8 mentors every single day for about a month. And what happens is you have to research these mentors before you meet them. You meet them and then you ask the questions that you need, work out if they are the mentors that are suitable for your business. You follow up with them. They might connect you with new people. So we met over 150 mentors, I think, in the last 9 months. And it was not easy to remember who's who, to remember the advice that they had. Also, people have conflicting advice. So you have to, really.
Mental whiplash.
Yeah, there's a mentor whiplash. That's what it's called.
You only get 20 minutes with each mentor. So you pretty much have to pitch yourself, introduce yourself, and then ask them questions like, how can you help me? How can we overcome certain challenges? They'll give you their advice. You note it all down, and then next person. So it's training you to be really, really good at speed networking. Essentially, it's curated speed networking. And I think at the beginning, in our first couple of years, we were really bad at networking, weren't we? Really, really terrible at getting out there. And I think it's worth noting we're both introverted. So I think anyone on this call who is also introverted can definitely relate to the fact that you get very drained being around people. And so when we go to events, networking or anything, we just get very I don't know, we just feel like it's too much to talk to too many people in one go. And so that can definitely be a disadvantage, I think, if you're looking to make business relations and actually make an impact with your business, is that you have to keep your energy up and talk to the right people. And Textiles was hugely helpful with that because they already put the network in for us and we just had to be there, be present. So that was really interesting. And I think coming off of Textiles Korea, it was then Christmas time and we felt very down because we realized that we didn't achieve the goals that we thought we were going to achieve. And I think some of you guys might know a little bit about this and some of you might not, but we basically went into like a depression phase during Christmas because we realized that Inspire Me Korea is not growing the way that we wanted it to. And I think one of the questions in the Q&A later asked this as well, which we can go into more detail, but we didn't achieve our business goals and we had to start getting real with ourselves. Like, if this continues, is it really worth doing? And we've asked ourselves like a million different times in the last 5-6 years, is this worth it? And a lot of the time we're like, yes, it is. It has to be, because we've put in this much work and we have Inspire Me's who are cheering us on all the time. We can't give up now. But there were so many times where the numbers weren't checking out. The people who we were talking to said, no, I don't think this is going to work. And we had to just keep hearing no and no and no over and over again and still tell each other we can do it. And it was really hard to hear that. So we then entered Textiles Colorado because they offered us a different program because Textiles Korea didn't actually achieve our goals. So they said, would you like to be a part of Textiles Colorado, which is the flagship program? That started January 20 something. That was end of January. So we pretty much had Christmas to feel very, very sad. And then we were given the opportunity to join another program. We thought, can we do it? We were so exhausted from the first program. And Colorado time is minus 16 hours from Korea. So we would have to join all of the Zoom calls like early in the morning, like super early, from like 4 a.m. onwards. And neither of us are morning people. And we were like, we're in a really bad state of mind right now. Mentally, we were very burnt out. Like, we both have been burnt out over the last 6 years multiple times, but this time it was getting too much. Like, it was really getting to the point where we couldn't really see the finish line.
And one of the key things about burnout is, like, no matter how much you sleep, it's not enough. You still feel exhausted. And before that, we had similar kind of like burnout symptoms of like mentally being tired. But this time we were physically being dragged around as well because of having to go into the office and doing early mornings, working weekends. I was always the last one to leave the office in Textiles Korea, and I would turn off the lights and then the next day turn on the lights when I go into the office. So it was like physical and mental tiredness.
Yeah, and I think just to preface that a bit as well, just before we started Textiles Korea, like as with everybody else, we experienced the pandemic. We were in lockdown in the UK. We were actually based in London for just before Textiles Korea, and for the whole time we've been doing Inspire Me Korea. And we were 5 months in lockdown and we didn't go anywhere. And actually it was through Inspire Me Korea live stream with a lot of, that's how we met a lot of you, through Inspire Me Korea Digital, which was the thing that got us like through COVID, I think, because as soon as COVID started, Diana and I were like, we can't ship our boxes out anymore. What are we going to do? And I think a key trait of being an entrepreneur is you have to pivot fast. If something is an obstacle, if you come across a challenge, you can't just stand there and like wonder what to do. You have to think of something really fast. And over like night, pretty much, we said, we've got to do something. We've got to make it digital. And as soon as we started seeing like gym teachers and like yoga teachers go online, like put their classes online, we were like, why can't we do the same thing? So we decided to take our box, and simply put, it was take our box. How can we translate everything that the box comes with and the experience, not the physical products, but the experience of the products? How can we turn that into a digital experience so that everyone at home in quarantine and in lockdown can experience it? And so we were like making categories, right? We were like, beauty, what can we do with beauty? Food, what can we do with food? And we're like, food, let's do mukbang, let's do cooking class. And then beauty, let's do like a skincare like session or something. So we quickly brainstormed ideas, and we came up with Inspire Me Korea Digital, and Hyun and Jin joined in, and it was amazing. It was the 4 of us. We did live streams and we tried to do it. And even though we're both very introverted and we find it really hard to psych ourselves up for like these online events, we psyched ourselves up every time, right? And
we're also lacking all of these social events by being in lockdown. So it was like one thing to look forward to, actually.
Yeah, like every Thursday and Saturday, I remember we did like sessions and like K-pop parties, and it was so much fun. Like every time we were like, oh, shall we do this? And then it wasn't like, no offense to anyone, but we were both like just tired from the day, I think, because we had to do it like sort of like at a decent hour for everybody. And then afterwards we got so much energy. We were like, wow, that was so much fun. Like every single time it was so much more fun than we imagined in our head before. So we really pushed ourselves out of our comfort zone. I would say before COVID, me and you weren't active online very much. Like we didn't show our faces. Diana showed her face more. I didn't. I was very much like, I want to be behind the scenes. I don't really like being in front of the camera. And because of COVID, I had to push myself forward. And I remember the first time we did the live stream, I was so nervous. I was shaking. I was in my room doing the first live stream. Yeah, in my quarantine. Self-quarantine. And I was so nervous because I was like, no one is going to find me interesting. Why would anybody watch me? I'm going to look like a fool and no one's going to care. And you guys turned up. I think there was like 15 people on there or something, but it was
imposter syndrome.
Yeah, it was super imposter syndrome. And over the course of COVID lockdown, I think we experienced so much with you guys that we'll just never forget it. You know, we remember people's names, like we still chat to you guys every single day. And it's because of pushing ourselves outside our comfort zone, we were able to create this amazing community, which to this day I'm like wowed by, because you guys have all made friends with each other. I know you all like hang out with each other still, have like watch parties, send each other care packages. You sent us care packages, and so it was a very special time, those 5 months. And then we left to come to Korea, and that was when the real world hit us, because things were operating normally here in Korea. Our bodies just couldn't handle it, right? We were just struggling to even walk up the stairs in Korea in the subway.
Taking the subway, I felt claustrophobic, and I never ever have felt that before, but I felt like I couldn't breathe taking the subway. And I realized like how big an impact it can be of 5 months to not go out of your house, to then go and do normal things. I actually was just feeling like I couldn't breathe.
Yeah. And so going into an office, like a physical office, when you've been in lockdown for like 6 months, because we had to do 2 quarantine here as well. So we just didn't have any physical social interaction. Then like dragging yourself out of bed every day and going into the office and like physically exerting yourself socially as well, being introverts, like it all added up. And we just collapsed into bed every single night during Textiles Korea. Like, how the hell do people do this? This is just normal everyday life, but we're struggling. So that definitely pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and knowing where your physical limits are is very important. And I just saw someone's comment saying physical burnout. Burnout is so real. Be sure to take breaks for your mental, physical, emotional health, for sure. Like Amanda Wardrop said that is so true, and something we had to learn for sure as well.
And a lot of Inspire Me's have reminded us that as well for the last good few months. So thank you for those reminders.
Honestly speaking, like the last 6 years has been so hard, and I would have given up ages ago if it weren't for Inspire Me's. Like, you guys are such an incredible customer base. I don't know how it happened. Like, we got so lucky. But even from the beginning, the first year, you were getting emails from people unboxing their boxes with their grandma, sharing it with their like friends, and telling us how much it meant to them that we sent them a box with Korean goodies in them. And we were just doing our business. Like, people are paying us to do it, but they talk to us like as if we had gifted them something. And definitely during lockdown, you guys were the people that got us up in the morning and kept us going. You know, we worked every single day in lockdown. There was no such thing as Saturday and Sunday. Remember, we were building our Patreon page, building our live streams, made a whole new website. We launched Inspire Me Japan. To miss that out, I always forget to talk about that one, because there was just too many things going on at that time. Like, from March till July, we were just hustling hard. Like, the only thing that got us through lockdown was, we have to do this next big thing. We have to do it. And Inspire Me's are cheering us on, so we have to do it. And I think whenever we felt disheartened, one of you would always perk us up and say, Alice and Diana, keep going, fighting, like,
and we would go on live streams as well, like Instagram live streams when we're stressed, and you would always leave us nice comments, and it would make us feel happy, and then we'll continue again. We never talk about it that much in the live stream. We'll just like talk about any random thing, start playing music, but for some reason you all just left some sweet comments, and then I was like, okay, it's worth it,
I think, like, maybe even a practical tip here, like from what we've experienced in the last 6 years, and we've talked to a lot of other founders and tech stars as well, building all different types of businesses, is like, putting your heart into your business is so important, because we didn't even realize it. We just did it accidentally, because this is just who we are. But I'd say we're very innocent and naive in a lot of ways. That's the downside of being this way. But we're very heartfelt and heart-centered people. And so when we built our product and built our business, we were just thinking about what would Inspire Me's want? What would customers want? And when we did that, we realized that people could see that and people could feel that, and it was different. And people were telling us this, that we were a different brand to them in terms of like really caring about what people wanted. And I think if you guys were to start your own business, think about your why, and think about your heartfelt mission, and make sure it kind of comes across in what you're doing, because people can feel that. I think, humans, connections, these things are very authentic and real, and people can tell, if you're just like faking something. So I think from the beginning, we just really tried our best. And I think that we have a following now because of that. I think we've never really like said that out loud, but I think maybe you guys can tell us. But I think I think we dissected it a little bit. I think that's probably one of the reasons.
Yeah. And I want to ask, and moving on to the next section is like, what are our tips on how to be a boss? So I think that was one of your tips, right?
Yeah.
So Alice has 3 each. So Alice, do you want to share your other 2 tips on how to be a boss, since that is the title of this event?
Yes. So everyone, you guys can get your notebooks out now. Before, there was nothing really notable to write down, but now maybe. So the first tip I have is know yourself and your co-founders. So we touched upon this earlier about personality types. We talk about our MBTIs all the time. And for anyone that doesn't know what MBTI means, it's basically your personality type. You can go on 16personalities.com and do a quiz. It takes like 15 minutes, I think, and you get like 4 letters to represent your personality type, which basically tells you like how you perceive the world and how you make decisions. And I think that's really important, because before we knew our personality types, we were just like blindly doing things, I feel like. And once we knew, we unlocked a whole new like area of life where we were able to understand, oh, you see it that way. Oh, that's so cool. Like I see it differently, right? So I think firstly, know who you are and like what drives you. How do you perceive the world? And how do you make your decisions? How do you, process your feelings? How do you want other people to receive you? How do you react in a conflict? These are all things that are really, really good to firstly like go into your business with self-awareness, and then secondly, knowing your co-founders. So one really good tip that I heard from a great founder of notonthehighstreet.com, woman founder, I forget her name. She said, before you go into business with anybody, if your friends or your family, get them to do a personality test and also fill out a questionnaire of like exactly what they're looking for and how they resolve conflict, what they what they like, how they act when they're stressed. How do you know when they're not feeling good, and how do they want you to react to them when they're not feeling good, and these types of things. And I think it's really important to know who you're getting into business with, because there's always going to be unexpected things that come up. And there's always going to be times where things get a little crunchy and a little bit like not so good. You have to know how to navigate that. And you're going to learn along the way, but knowing as much as you can before you go into it would be good. And so I am an INTP and Diane is an INFP. So we actually are very similar, but also very different. I would say the T and the F is very different. But basically we're both introverted, intuitive, which means we see the world in the same way. So I think that's where we agree on our mission, inspiring people, etc. But I am a thinking type and Diana is a feeling type. We're both prospecting. And I think the prospecting part doesn't matter so much, right? But basically I'm very logic based. I like analyzing things. I like spreadsheets. I like making lists. I like knowing exactly how to get from A to B. Like if we have to break it down into 20 steps, I want to know exactly what 1 to 20 steps are. I like making the list, and I'm always the one that starts a spreadsheet and then I have to like get you to fill it in. But Diana's much more feeling type, which means that she's way more creative. She's able to feel people's emotions and create products that resonate with people. I think that's like what you started off with and you're super good at. And I don't get you in that way, but you don't get me in my thinking type, right? So we often clash on these types of decision making.
But we managed to like split our work well in that, like, because I am feeling type, which I didn't know before. I did the creative things and I created the boxes. I chose the contents of the boxes. I designed some things, and Alice did the marketing and she did logistics, which was basically the things that needed spreadsheets. But when I think about a spreadsheet, I'm just like in cold sweats. I don't want to think about it.
You reject
but
it
thankfully
completely.
There's someone who can do that. And after we understood our personality types, we started to become way more understanding of each other, like why I think that it needs to be this way. I can't explain it. It just feels like it must be this way, and I feel like I need to sell this, or I need to put this on the website, need to put this on a shop. There's just no reason. I just feel it's true. And for Alice, I guess, like, you're just like, it needs to be logical.
I always explain my logic, and I get very frustrated when Diana doesn't understand my logic. I'm like, I literally told you in plain words why it needs to be done this way. Why can't you see it? And she's like, no, I'm not feeling it. And I'm like, why?
But now I understand. So it's been better to be aware of each other. So I'm like, okay, that makes more sense. So even though I don't feel like it's something I want to do, but I agree that it's a better decision like that.
And I think starting on the same page is really important with co-founders. That undoubtedly you guys are going to come across people. Even if you start a business solo, you have to work with people in business. So being able to see eye to eye in some respects is going to be really important. And I think because we're sisters, we already had that commonality there. Even though at the beginning we weren't too close and we didn't know each other's personality types, I think we allowed each other space to discover and explore what was good for both of us. And so I naturally fell into logistics and customer experience, and then you naturally fell into your creative processes and like products and stuff. And we allowed each other to feel it out and let each other feel out the strengths and weaknesses before we realized, like, if we combine both our strengths, where are the weaknesses left, right? And then we find people to fill out those weaknesses. And I think that's where we've been able to do majority of Inspire Me Korea by just ourselves. Obviously, we have a great team, some of which are on this call. They filled out our weaknesses, but and then someone said Fiam Meta says also being able to understand yourself is very underrated, because if you don't understand yourself, you cannot guide those around you to understand you. That's so true. Being a leader it's very important to have self-awareness and awareness of how you impact other people, especially if you take on staff and have a team. You have to be responsible for them, and that is one of my kind of like side tips would be to read Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why, which is the Know Your Why tip. Really know why you're doing what you're doing, because that's going to be the North Star. That's going to be the thing that you're going to return to time and time again. If you get lost, if you feel demotivated, if people are telling you can't do what you want to do, always go back to your why. And reading that book really inspired us to double down on our why. And he also has another book called Leaders Eat Last, which is all about how to become an inspiring leader, and really knowing yourself, knowing the people around you, and committing to having faith in your team and leading like you're a family and you're the head of the family is really important. And we really tried our best. And I think we have faults, of course, but we tried our best to lead by example within our team as well. And my final tip is spell it out and commit. So this is, again, my logic brain talking, but you really have to write a business plan that has all of the things you want to do. And really cover all bases if you can. It's going to take time. Business plans are between 20 to 50 pages long. So it's a long document. You can download templates online really easily, fill it out and try to think of every aspect of your business. Although the stuff that's really boring to both of us is cash flow and finance stuff, which comes at the end of a business plan and we both hate it. Every time we get to the bottom part, we're like, oh, someone else do this. Like both of our weaknesses is finance. We hate anything related to like cash flow and balance sheets and stuff, which is really important. So if you need someone like that, definitely get someone who's good at finance. But yeah, spell it out and commit to it and know that this is going to be your path and you're responsible. You have to be disciplined, wake up every single day and do something to move the needle to get yourself to what that business plan spells out. Thank you. I didn't expect that.
It just feels like it needs a clap, sorry.
Yeah, so those will be my 3 tips. So firstly, know yourself, know your co-founders, know your why, and spell it out and commit. Those will be my 3 tips. And so Diana, what are yours?
It. Thank you.
Almost the hour.
Yes. My first one actually is slightly related to Simon Sinek that you mentioned as well. I also like him. The first tip is to think about your long-term vision. So don't think about it like a short-term thing. You can, if your goal is to just make money and leave. But if your vision and mission is about something that's meaningful and you want to keep it for a long time, then think in the long term. And there's a book called The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. To be honest, I think you can just read a summary of this because I read it and I skim read it. The key point is that you need to think about your business in a way where you're not here to win a game or a match. It's not a short game and you don't compete with your competitors to win the game because then there's an end to your business. But the point is to see it in the long term, and all the decisions that you make throughout the time where you think of this as an infinite game, you're going to create longevity for your business. And that is really important.
Someone just said, sorry, what was the title of the book again?
The title of the book is The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. My second tip is to create value, and especially if it's unique value. So I think people are drawn to value. That's why they buy something. For example, you pay like £10, $10 for a book because you think the value is either equal to the price of it or higher. Right. So what you have to create is value for people to want to pay for something and buy it. But the fact that if you can make it really unique to you, then that's your USP, your unique selling point, which makes you different from your competitor. And that is most important because you want to be unique, you want to be different, and you want to bring value. So for us, like we had quite a few competitors, but I think it wasn't such a competitive market compared to something like fashion, which is quite broad. We were quite niche, but we also had like close competitors, and we realized that the value that we were bringing was basically the feeling that we're creating with the products, because anyone can create similar products or put similar products into their boxes, but we were making a feeling and a story, which is really hard to replicate because that's based on us. That's based on like what I think needs to be the story, the theme of the box, and also communicating with all of you and understanding what do you want, and putting that together, like what can be done and what do you want, and putting that together and creating the products for you. So that's how we made ourselves kind of different.
I think it was the added sum of its parts was more than the separate pieces. So obviously you can buy all the things that we sell in our boxes online, like you can buy things on yesstyle.com or whatever, but by us packaging it into a box and putting it like in really nice tissue paper and curating it for you, it then became more valuable. And so in that way, the curation process was part of the value experience. It was the value add that I'm sure a lot of you who received our boxes was like, well, this is so nice because it's been curated by someone. Yeah,
there was a story. The magazine was part of the story. It was to say like, oh, there's a theme this month. This month in Korea, there's like a Hangul Day, which is, to celebrate the Korean language, and we would create like a language box, and there was more meaning than just buying the products itself. And my third tip is to be passionate and obsessed. It really requires you to be very passionate and very obsessed for you to make it for a few years, even for a year, because it's not easy to be a boss, and you have to be obsessed enough to accept, and excuse my cursing, but I don't usually curse. This is a quote from one of my favorite authors, Elizabeth Gilbert. She calls it a shit sandwich. And the point is that she's saying that everything you do comes with a shit sandwich. You have to see if you're willing to accept these shit sandwiches. And I really like the way she put this. She actually has a TED talk as well. So if you're interested, her name is Elizabeth Gilbert. And the point is, like, if you're willing to accept the crappy stuff, the stuff that you hate, then you're really in it for the long run. And you have to be obsessed and passionate enough to be able to accept these shit sandwiches. As Alice said, like, we hate accounting. There's so many other things we hate, like caring about insurance. I don't know. Legal stuff.
We both hate that
stuff. Website domain. Yeah. Like there's a lot of these technical things that we like really hate to do.
That is essential to start a business with. Yeah.
You will be penalized if you don't do it. So you have to do it. But we were just obsessed enough that we're like, we will just do it. Mm-hmm. So you have to find something that you're happy enough to accept these things.
Yeah. Also, I saw this meme on the internet about entrepreneurs, like people who have this perception of entrepreneurs. Oh, you've got your own business, so that means you can like work whenever you want. You must have a 4-hour work week. It must be so bougie and leisurely. When actually, if you start your own business, you will work 24/7. You're working harder than everyone else. And you have to accept that when you have your own business, you will never stop thinking about it. You will never be able to put your laptop down. You'll never be able to go on holiday and shut off your emails and be like, yeah, I'm going on annual leave. That is not going to be an option. We didn't take a holiday for the whole 5 years.
Really
yeah, like you have to be real, you know? So you have to be passionate and obsessive enough, like Diana said, to accept all those things. And if that's fine, then you're gonna be fine.
You're gonna be great. But some of the examples, not just insurance and accounting, there are people that you can't trust in business. We've experienced a lot of this that scarred us a lot, especially because I was young when I started the business. So it was not easy for me to tell like who's a good person, who's going to have my best interest, which no one would actually. So this is what I've learned is like no one has your best interests. They have their own interests. You only have your own best interests. So you have to protect yourself. And there were very many examples of where we met people who we thought we could trust, who seemed trustworthy, who
put up a good act. I would say they really looked like they were going to be so good to us, but ultimately something would happen. They'll show their true colors and we would be betrayed or screwed over, to put it lightly.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it is to do with my age, like actual age, being young at the time and still now, but also looking young and also being female, maybe people of color. I can't be sure about people of color, whether that plays into part. I mean, any of these things actually, but I think all of these things, there's some kind of mixture of all these things that has caused this issue. Because when we think about it, if it was someone else, it probably wouldn't have happened to this kind of person, then we're like, oh, then I guess that happened to us because of this.
Majority of the people following us are women. And so I think it's important to talk about this subject of being a girl boss, being a woman boss, lady boss, however you want to call it. We've definitely been in situations where we felt like being a woman probably disadvantaged us, whether it's slight condescending comments or feeling like very young and female in a room full of old like men who have gray hair, who have like more wisdom than us, who have asserted their opinion on us when we knew our market better. We've definitely pitched to investors who were a lot older and male, who definitely said to us, I don't think this is going to work. Like, why would people want to buy Korean things? Like, this is just a trend. It's a fad. It's not going to last. Obviously they have their opinion and we respect that. But there have been times where, and I have this pet peeve, and I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but I have a massive massive pet peeve about this is being in business situations and having men call you a girl. Essentially, we've been in situations where older men have been like, girls, we need to do this, or girls, I hope you don't mind if we do this. And I don't like being referred to as a girl.
Especially in a situation where we are the client.
Yeah, we were always the client, actually. We were the one paying this person for a service. And we are the co-CEOs. So we're like sitting at a table where we're CEO, they might be CEO too, but we're essentially the one paying, and they'd be like calling us girls, and I don't like that. And but in that moment, I didn't really think of how to say it. Like, it was a business situation. So I mean, if it happened now, I think I'd be more vocal, but this was a few years ago. And I just don't like being called a girl, because I wouldn't call someone a boy. You know, I would be like, hey, you know,
excuse me.
Yeah, sir, you know, I would rather not be called a girl. So there was these moments. And actually someone asked earlier, Isaac asked, what's it like being a female boss in different cultures, UK versus South Korea? Do you have anything to say about that?
Oh, yeah, I have something to say. I have a lot to say. Being in the UK, I think people are a bit more open-minded in the UK in terms of young, like, female bosses. I guess they would probably be more like wowed by that and kind of interested. But
the startup scene is way more developed in the UK. Yeah, the startup scene is really not that developed in South Korea. So it's got a long way to go, put it that way. So that might be a big factor.
I've had a lot of like comments, especially when I just started the business, so it wasn't so well known, but and I was young, but there were a lot of Korean, like Asian as well, people who made these comments like, oh, you started your business, you must be rich, or you must have had so much help from your parents. And like, it was so hurtful to hear that, but I didn't have much to say back, because it's really hard when you're the younger person, especially in Asian culture. You can't really talk back. So I just said, oh, no, that's not it. And they're like, yeah, that's it. But yeah, I worked so hard at my part-time jobs for a long time. Actually, at some point I had 6 part-time jobs simultaneously. It was just so tiring, but it feels very like wronged for people to just make a condescending like comment so easily. So I felt like, that happened more often in Asia, or like from comments from people who are from Asia.
There's so much more hierarchy here in Korea. That's why. So yeah, so women tend to not be as respected on the hierarchy, because there's just a lack of female bosses here.
So we should all just become bosses and take over the world. And we talk back to them. Don't talk down to them, but talk back to them.
Yeah, true. Okay, cool. So was that your 3 tips?
Yes. So should we answer some questions?
Yeah, so now we're at the final kind of portion.
Yes, so if anyone wants to add any questions, you can add it in the chat.
There's some amazing comments in the chats. You know, people
want to read some, and then we'll
okay, you can provide the question. So Fian Meta, sorry, I'm pronouncing your name really wrong. It was like I was traveling out there at the time when I couldn't afford to go very far. It really helped. I think this is our boxes. Amanda Wardrop said you could really feel the love in each box and how excited, thankful you two were when we placed an order. Oh, that's so sweet of you guys to say. And I think a part of this was the feedback loop was so great for us. Whenever we put out boxes, you guys would comment on our Instagram and tell us what you thought. That really cheered us up. But I was just thinking this today, actually, that we respond so much more to negativity. Like, I think with all of us, we feel like you can have 1,000 positive comments, but if you see one negative one, that's the one that gets you down. And which was not, it was rare, but whenever we got some negative comment, it would be like, oh, we got to do better. So that motivated us as well. But yeah, definitely you guys supporting us and being there for us and feeling the love that we put into every box really helped us, especially in the times where our warehouse was making mistakes and we just couldn't control it. We felt so helpless. We talked to you guys about why it was things were going wrong, and you really understood and supported us more than regular customers, I feel. And so that helped us to really move forward with a lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges, like so many things went on behind the scenes, which I don't think we're going to get into all of it today. But if you guys do want a follow-up session, I think there's so many like tangents we can go on. But yeah, we're really happy to do another session. But yeah, today's about the different questions, the Q&A.
Are you done with the comments?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so Angel asked quite a few questions questions. So we're going to go in order because Angel asked first. Before you presented the idea for Inspire Me Korea, did you have that fear or doubt? And how did you push past that enough to take the chance and follow your dream for Inspire Me Korea? Such a great question. Thank you, Angel. I guess there's a question for me.
Yes, it is.
Of course, I had fear and doubt, but I think it was like less than 1%. I just was adamant that I just know it's going to work. I knew that there were people that wanted an experience of Korea. I knew that there was a big K-pop community. Like, it just felt like it all made sense. I studied about the subscription box model as well. So I knew well about how it works and how to make revenue from it, obviously theoretically and not really in real life. But yeah, I guess most of it was because I was naive and young, and I thought I can just pack up a box and just sell it for money.
I think your personality type is really good at being in your own bubble and believing in something so much that you don't care what anyone says, because you do have to have that. And me, there's me being like the negative Nancy a lot of the time, being like, I don't think that's going to work. I know that. And, you know, I think that's why we pair so well, because you're so rooted in the creativity in the product and so like sure on your vision. And I'm there to like kind of like support you with like things that could go wrong. I'm always the one that's forecasting things to go wrong. I'm the warrior.
Yes.
And you're the optimist.
Yes.
And I think that's why it goes so well.
Yes. Yeah. And also in our personality types, the P, like INFP, INTP, the P actually means that we like pivot quite fast. Like we try things and then we like kind of lose interest and do something else. And I see that a lot in my like hobbies in life. But actually, like in business, somehow we managed to make it to 6 years, like 5 to 6 years. But also, we did pivot a lot throughout the 5 to 6 years. We just kept the same like vision and mission, but actually loads of things changed over time. So
you
yeah,
have
that's
to
interesting.
Constantly assess whether what you're doing is having the effect that you want. And when sales weren't going well for us, we were like, we got to think of something else. We've got to think of something else. And what we constantly came back to was asking you guys, because we were like, it's the easiest thing to just ask, because the reason why we're doing it is for Inspire Me's out there. We should just ask them directly. And we put it on, and thankfully we had an Instagram following. So we just put polls up like, would you like this? Would you like that? That's why you see so many of our comments, our questions out there, because we were literally asking you, what do you want? So we can give it to you. And so many times it changed. What you guys want might not be what we can deliver. And a lot of the times we tried, a lot of the times we failed. And we really had to test and learn, but like do it fast, right? The fast sprint cycle, the sprint book that you read one time.
There's a book called Sprint. I don't remember the author, but if you search Sprint book, I think you'll find it. Famous, it's basically about how you can use 5 days, each day doing it, focusing on a different thing to test a new idea within 5 days and launch something and work out whether it's going to be successful or not within 5 days. Great. Okay, so the next question is, did Inspire Me Korea turn out how you hoped in terms of development and sales?
Great question.
Good question.
This is getting into the heart of it, I think. No, it didn't. And it's funny because I think a lot of the time things can look really good on the outside and it's actually not the case on the inside. And we get told this time and time again, like our friends, people around us, business people, they say, oh, like you guys are doing so well. You guys are like smashing it. Yeah, it looks like it. But internally, we were having so many problems. And to be really real with you guys, our boxes started off as £13.99 from the first year. And it ended up being £21.99 at the final month that we were selling them. And this is because the rise of cost of everything that we had to do, sourcing products from Korea, sending them to the UK, picking and packing in the UK, and sending them out to 80 countries all around the world to you all, was costing more and more and more and more every year. Like inflation, warehouses having problems. We've been through 4 or 5 different warehouses, huge headache each time we moved. We lost a lot of money moving our stock, had so many battles and issues with the people that worked for us.
I feel tears welling up in my eyes just thinking about it.
Stressful experience. And we've been through so many health problems because of it as well. It was very frustrating when the warehouse that we paid money to work for us actually made so many mistakes and made you guys receive the wrong thing, broken products, the wrong culture in the wrong box. Like it's been actually ridiculous. So on the outside, things can look really cool. But actually on the inside, we were suffering a lot. And it just ended up taking a lot of our headspace to be curating different boxes every month, and having that shipped all around the world with COVID added on top of that, trying to run the digital live streaming aspect as well as trying to sell the boxes was just too much. And when we entered Techstars, we had to do all of those things at the same time, and it ended up getting too much. There at Christmas time, we were both depressed, pretty much, I'd say. And again in February, when we announced the end of Inspire Me Korea, it had been 2 months coming when we realized our business is not like, our business is our baby. It's been our baby for the last 5 years, and our baby wasn't growing up
at that point.
Toddler
Should be toddler.
Should be toddler, but actually our toddler was sick, like really, really sick. And so many times we question ourselves, should we continue? And we always said, yes, of course we should continue. We've got so many things we want to achieve. We've got Inspire Me's waiting for our boxes. And it became irrefutable and undeniable by Christmas time that our business goals were not being met. We were not making a profit. Actually, for a lot of months, we were making a loss. And COVID surcharges, Brexit, all of this was adding up, and things were becoming very expensive to source. What you guys wanted is really not easy to get because of many different things, copyright, licensing, all this kind of stuff. And there was so little margin in it that we couldn't continue increasing our prices because it's not fair for you guys. We really wanted to keep it affordable. Every time we did a price increase, we felt so terrible. Like, do you remember before we pressed the button to change the price, we were like, this is really hard.
It's more terrible because if you're a subscriber, then you've been used to paying a certain amount. It's not just we just change the price on a shop. It's like a subscriber, and it feels bad.
Yeah. And we know a lot of you guys by name as well, especially the first year. We were packing the boxes all ourselves with like few hundred boxes.
We were handwriting address labels. I would write your addresses and we'd sign the boxes
as well. Yeah, for a good while we were doing that, and then it got too much. We knew how much it meant to you guys. Some of you guys were like, this is my happiness every month. You know, we knew what we were doing when we increased the prices, and it just killed us. But it was killing our business too. So come Christmas time, we didn't really enjoy Christmas, did we? We were like, we've got to end this and rip the Band-Aid off. I don't know what's coming next. And that had such a big ripple effect on our mental health, because we have attached ourselves to this identity of Inspire Me Korea, being the founders of it. What are we going to do if we don't do the subscription box? We're like, what do we do with ourselves? So we felt really useless and hopeless for 2 months. And then it was around Valentine's Day, I remember that week, when we recorded the video. Did we ever publicly say this about recording the video and what happened?
I don't think so.
Not okay. So we both knew we were going to end the business, and
since December, so it had been over 2 months.
Yeah, but we had to sort out all the kind of like logistics around how we're going to do it and stuff. And then we thought, okay, we're going to record the video to tell our audience that we're actually going to end this. And we started off the video we're really good at repressing our emotions. I feel we're very good at just getting on with things. Like whenever we have a bad day, we just have to put aside our emotions and get in the meeting room and just say, right, what we're going to do, write an agenda, to-do list, let's do it. Bash through the whole thing.
That's because, like, in business, when there's an emergency, you have to solve the problem first. You can't just sit down and start crying. You have to
put the fire out.
Yeah, you have to put out the fire first. So there's no time to be emotional about anything. And so in the past, like 5 or 6 years, there are so many things that we just accepted. We're like, as long as it's solved, then let's just move on to the next problem. So there were many things that like accumulated.
I think, throughout the last 5 years, we have always put Inspire Me Korea first. Whenever there was something that would happen in our lives, Inspire Me Korea would be automatically the first priority, no matter what it is that we had to do. So we sat down, we were like, let's start recording, press the record button, start. All right, hi, Inspire Me. And then as we got into it, we both just started crying. And like out of nowhere, we weren't expecting to cry. So we both started crying, and Diana started crying first. And I was like, oh my God, here we go. And then I started crying because she started crying. And then we both got super teary, and we both had to pause the video for a second and then carry on. And then right after saying everything we needed to say, we just pressed upload, or like send the video. I sent it to you to be uploaded. And then we didn't even have time to wipe away our tears. And I was like, all right, we just got to just send the newsletter. We got to get on with it. And we both just like wiped our tears. So we were in an office.
And we're like, we need to hurry up and tell him what he needs to do tomorrow. He's leaving soon. And like, there's just so many things that need to be done with the deadline. And so there's no time to wipe your tears.
Yeah, we barely wiped our tears, and then we just repressed our emotions again and carried on the day. And then I got home later that evening, and it all came crashing down on me because I started reading the comments on Instagram Instagram. So this is another thing. Social media can really do things to you. And so once we uploaded the video, I was still fine. But then on the subway home, I was reading the comments, and all of a sudden I started crying on the subway. And I was like, oh my God.
Separately.
Yes, separately, because we came home. We couldn't bear to come home together. I left first.
Actually, I had a friend meeting.
Oh, yeah, you did.
I had, like, organized a while ago. So I still met the friend, but I was feeling terrible.
Yeah, you're trying to take your mind off it. So I came home, I couldn't even eat dinner, and that's a really big sign. Like, I was putting food in my mouth, it was so tasteless, and I was like, oh my God, this is over. It's over. It was so heartbreaking. And yeah, it's like, and then we got some really great advice from this, from Techstars mentors. And they said that when you end a business idea or a business in general, you should hold a funeral. And I thought this was such an interesting concept. So if you ever, hopefully you guys never have to, but if you ever have to close down a business, you should hold a funeral so that you can celebrate the life of your business and give yourself closure, mentally give yourself closure. And we thought that's a great idea. Did we do it though?
We did it like slowly.
Yeah. We're not people who celebrate things either. Yeah, we don't celebrate our birthday, Inspire Me Korea's birthday. We don't celebrate like big milestones. We kind of go, yay. And then we're like, what's next? Like, quickly, let's get on to the next milestone. So we're really bad at like processing our emotions and airing them out, and B, celebrating milestones. And I think because of this experience, we've become better at celebrating ourselves. We've become better at saying, hey, why don't we just say well done for getting through this, and let's have a little celebration. Let's go out for a meal or something.
Yeah. I think Alice also started having this new habit of patting me on the head. Yeah.
I do this stuff.
Yeah. Nowadays, I'm like, you know what? I can request that. It's okay to request for a pat on the head.
Like, well done.
Yeah. It feels great.
Great. I hope that answered that question.
What kept you going through setbacks?
I think it's what we already mentioned.
Just the comments.
It's been it's know your why. It's the whole like, make sure that you're motivated by what you're doing, and go back to the things that reaffirm the why. So our reaffirmation is you guys, and we'll always look to you guys to tell us what you want to see from us. Are we going in the right direction? That's why we did so much customer discovery in the sort of around February, March time when we were in the Techstars Colorado program. We did a whole product market fit scenario exercise, which we didn't previously do. And I think product market fit is a huge concept that we didn't dawn on us, which is finding out if your product actually fits the market, which arguably wasn't fitting too well before, because we were curating these boxes that some people wanted, but not a lot of people wanted, right? We didn't achieve the scale that we wanted to achieve. Again, other people, that we needed to achieve. And I think other people can put an expectation on you. Obviously, if you're an accelerator program and you've received investment, then you need to like 10x your revenue. But if you're running a small business, that's going to be way less pressure. But for us, there was more pressure because of that environment. And so we thought, if we don't 10x everything, then it's going to fail. And ultimately, if your business isn't profitable, then it's kind of like not really serving a business purpose. So if you are not getting the thing that you need, then product market fit needs to be assessed somewhere there as well. And so we really went through a lot of that, and going through comments from you guys really helped us to try to find what you guys really wanted, and that helped to keep us going.
Do you think being each other's support system and being there for each other played a huge role in how much Inspire Me Korea has grown? I think 100%. I think that like,
that's a really nice question.
Yeah, it's a nice question. I think if we didn't get on the way we do and understand each other the way we do, I would just feel really lonely and really tired, because business is kind of like a battle. Like, you constantly have to be on your A game. You have to be ready. You have to be prepared at every meeting. You have to decide what you want out of every meeting or the network that you have, and to make the most of it. And so you have to be on your toes all the time. And I think I would be too exhausted to constantly be at that level of like energy and effort if I didn't have someone to like fall back on, or someone who can kind of help support.
Yeah, I think what we've done really well is divide the role between the two of us. We've become co-CEOs naturally, and a lot of mentors from Techstars actually very much advise against co-CEOs because of the reason that you should only have one CEO, one person managing the whole company. Otherwise, things get a bit messy. But they made an exception with us and said, actually, you guys are good at co-CEOs because I think we're the right personality type fit. We're both very intuitive, so we can understand each other really well. And we've spent too much time together now. We're almost telepathic. So we're essentially, we joke about this, but we can be the same person. Yeah, like she can go to a business meeting and answer questions on my behalf, and I can do the same to a certain extent. And you really need to have this synergy and chemistry, I would say, with your co-founders, co-founder or co-founders, where you trust each other implicitly, you're loyal to each other, and definitely get all the documents signed, partnership agreements and stuff. That's all very necessary to have that trust in place. But really make sure you guys have fun together, because we have fun outside of business. We can definitely go between personal and business in the same meeting and be seamless with it because we trust each other and we get on well. And that's definitely taken time to build, but initially you have to put in the work. And I think without that, we wouldn't be able to make it this far. And I think I trust Diana so much in terms of like, if I'm feeling low or I'm feeling like I'm not in a good place, then she can take over in a meeting. I can say, can you just do this part? And I'll know she will do it, rather than like me handing over the baton to someone and they drop it. Like, we know we can trust each other to cover for each other. And that's really important as well, because we'll all have like off days and bad days, and you have to trust the other person to like have your back and like, yeah, be there for you. So I think that's it as well. And also I think we both experience low times separately and sometimes together, but we'll like lift each other back up and be like, remember this, or like, we're going to do this, right? And be there for each other in that way.
Great answer. Did the last question from Angel is, did Inspire Me Korea give you the opportunity to live your life the way you wanted? For example, doing your day in your life or staycations and exploring. That is a really special question, I feel like.
I think she's very observant. Angel,
Yeah.
you're very observant.
Yeah.
I think, my answer to this would be, at the beginning, no, because we were working 24/7. Like, we were working so much that I thought, I don't get to enjoy life. Like, I wanted to backpack every 6 months. That was my initial plan for myself when I came back from backpacking. I was like, I'm going to do this every 6 months. If I have my own business, why can't I do that?
Alice can't be separated from her coconuts.
Yeah, I needed them. But it turns out that's not really realistic, because if you have your own business, you will never be able to shut off your emails. But having said that, I think we built our business to the point where it was sad and we shut things down. We shut our subscription box shop and down. And then we started exploring this new angle with the app that connects fans together. And once we started exploring that angle, we realized that we had a gap between the shop and this new angle. And we decided this is the only time we can take a break. And so we took a break for the first time in 5 years. We took a vacation and we went away and we traveled. And that was when we really discovered what we really wanted in life, which is to not work as hard. To actually enjoy life. We had these epiphanies where we were like, we really just want to do what we love and keep it meaningful and fulfilling, but pay the bills, and that's it. Like, that we want to live a simple life. So
yeah, I think the key is being the boss of your own life and not being the boss of a company, because being a boss of a company requires you to deal with emergencies, as I mentioned, and you don't get to care about yourself. You have to care about the business. Being a boss of your own life means that you put yourself first, and you can also be a boss. So why not?
Yeah. And I think it's been interesting exploring this new angle of doing staycations, doing fun things. We really just went back to the root, which is sharing experiences of Korea. What we've been sharing recently, if you follow us on Instagram, which I think most of you do, is cool things to do here that you guys may not know about. And, like, whether that be hair salons or like special treatments or nice hotels, like really different hotels than what you can imagine. These are things that we feel like you guys are really interested in, and we've been trying them out. I think, to be really candid, we haven't been paid for any of the stuff that we've been doing, but we have been offered free products sometimes and free services. So we have been working on getting those kind of like partnerships so that we can show you a new side, but also make life fun for ourselves. And I think that's kind of like the combination we wanted to achieve. And whether that will continue, we'll see. But there's definitely that angle that we really wanted to try out. And I think we've been able to strike a balance between working and seeing what the new inspirations could be, because we really did need a break. And that's where you get inspiration from, is by giving yourself a breather, and also working on new things and showing you guys fun things. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed that. Let us know if you have or haven't.
Yeah, so that's every question that was submitted in advance. And are there any questions in the chat
here? So Amanda Wardrop asked, I was wondering if you still work with Hyun and Jin, or if you went in a different direction.
Yes, so that's a great question. I think around March time, Jin left Inspire Me Korea, and it was mainly just because we had different things that we wanted to do. He's actually like a part-time student as well, so he was focusing on his studies. We had a lot of things in common in terms of what we wanted to do with sharing Korean culture and all of that. He had some experience with us already, as you know, so I think he got a lot of like experience that he wanted from working with Inspire Me Korea, working at Inspire Me Korea. And yeah, we just had the new direction that we're working on the platform, and we felt like that wasn't the right fit for him in our team. So he left in March. And then Hyun, he worked a lot on the new direction as well. And he was really great at switching gears, because he joined the company as knowing that we're creating subscription boxes as a content creator. And then things changed like 180 degrees, and he was still there to learn new things. He learned things super fast, and really appreciated all the things that we worked on together. But anyway, in the end, just before our 3-week break, we realized that we needed more time to work out which direction we're going in, and it's not fair to kind of keep team members that are expecting a certain role or expecting certain tasks to do, which is what we originally brought them on for. That might completely change. And so we decided to also let Hyun go. But we are all on great terms still, and friends too. So yeah, we were just really happy with everyone that's been on our journey, actually all the staff that we've had, and some of them are on the call supporting us and just hearing the news and new updates as well. I'm so appreciative, and I think Inspire Me's who are here and not here too, because we would never have created Inspire Me Korea to what it is right now without being able to fill in the gaps that Alice mentioned. And also there was just so much that we wanted to do that it's just physically impossible for us to both do together. And I'm just so grateful that we managed to find the right team members who fit in and were able to like create the ideas that I had. I mainly manage those team members, and there were just so many creative ideas that I had, and I didn't have the skills to do it, but I shared like, this is the vision that I have, and they would just create it and make it a reality, like the one-off products that we had ourselves, books and book projects and special products that we made.
Yeah, and I'd say it's quite a nice shout out as well to our team, who were super diverse. I'm actually really proud how diverse our team were. They were from 7 different countries, right? At one point, I think if you added everyone up, it'd probably be over 10 different countries. Yeah. So we were operating on a truly global remote working team before COVID. Like, we were seriously in like 4 different time zones, I'd say, at least. I remember working Australian time, then UK time, then America time, like throughout most of
and Korea time.
Yeah, right. So we didn't discriminate at all in terms of where our staff were based. And we just thought the right person for the job would be the perfect person. So we did a lot of like asynchronous communication via a platform where you can chat to each other, leave each other messages and send files, etc., which definitely made things a little bit more challenging when it comes to like getting projects done and stuff. But I think what COVID has proven to everyone is that anyone can work from anywhere. And so one thing, if this is advice useful for you guys, is just don't like think that you have to hire people from like your country. You can definitely hire really cool people from different places all over the world, as long as they have the skill set. I think it's really cool, and we managed to do that. Yes, trustworthy. Yes. So Diana interviewed everyone.
Yes.
And she's a really good person to like feel people out and really understand if they fit our culture. And I think culture was number one. You have to be passionate about what we're about, and that was always the thing that we hired on. And our team are absolutely incredible, and I just couldn't applaud them enough. So yeah, well done, you guys. Yeah, definitely.
Were there more questions?
Yeah, Agnes says, from when are you based in Korea? Did you have to work part-time jobs as well, or are you only focused on Inspire Me?
Yes, we've been based in Korea since 2019, middle of 2019. We actually registered company in Korea too. And we were just back and forth between Korea and UK until last year's, because of COVID. We stayed here long term since last summer till now. And we will be staying for quite a bit longer. We're not sure about our future clearly either, so that's all we can share.
Were you working part-time jobs?
Yes, I had quite a few part-time jobs. As I mentioned, I was working in duty-free retail. I also did some social media freelance work, and I also worked in a hostel for a bit. I started up another small startup, and then I closed it like within 6 months. Yeah. Because it was just like I just couldn't focus on both things. And what else? That's about it.
Yeah, you've done a lot.
Yeah.
And then the final question, Amanda Waldrop says, are you going to keep taking breaks to balance work life?
Yes, we realized that we're too old to work 24/7 now. I just realized when I look back, like how much damage I did to my body, which at the time, and this is the toxic like work hustle culture, which I guess we can touch on, is like I'd have nosebleeds and I'd continue working and just like the tears, like don't even have time to wipe the tears and just continue working. And then I'd probably like say to my friends, if they were asking me like how I'm doing, I'm just like, oh, I'm so stressed because of this. And I even had a nosebleed from it. Not really like to show off, but like this is just what happened. Like this is a fact. And then when I look back, I'm like, why did that happen? Why should that happen? And if I'm my own boss, then why should I let that happen? So I think the key takeaway is be your own boss and not a company's boss.
Yeah, I think that resonates so much with me as well. I think if I was to look back on everything and say like, what's my biggest learning? It would be that I really damaged myself a lot as well. I think, we've touched on this before in previous talks, but 2018 was a really bad year for both of us. We took on too many projects. We said yes to too many things. I think throughout the whole journey, we've both had major health problems, from like insomnia. I've had really bad stomach problems. And all of this came from stress that I didn't even realize. You don't realize until it's too late, until your body's telling you it's going to like stop functioning soon.
But you realize these things as well, but you just continued because it feels like there's no other way. Like we kept thinking like you can't stop right now. Like the subscription continues. You have to prepare for the next month. The next month is coming. Like we put these kind of deadlines on ourselves, but also they were kind of part of the structure of what we were doing.
Yeah. And I think if you guys can learn anything from our journey, is really, really be clear on yourself on what you're willing to sacrifice and what you're not willing to sacrifice. Because if health is not something you're willing to sacrifice, then do not work yourself to the point of toxic burnout like we did, because that would inevitably come about if you're really, really committed and you're doing like a million things and you're like just starting out in business. So you don't have enough capital to like hire a whole team, which means you have to do everything yourself. Then it will definitely get to a point where you're going to be working like 24/7. And I'd say there are lots of sacrifices that we both made that at the time was like unavoidable, like you're going to have to sacrifice it. But I think looking back on it, relationships, friendships, things like I think me and like some other entrepreneur friends, we joke about this. Like we can't talk to our friends in the same way other people talk to their friends because we just don't have the time or mental capacity. We're like, oh, we're too busy. And how's it going? Oh, it's super busy. But like, it's going to be like that all the time. So if you really want to, if you want to keep your friendships, if you want to, have those types of relationships, then you have to be really mindful of that. You can push people out really easily by being your own boss. And I think that's something that I wish I could have known and warned myself about, is that like, don't sacrifice these things that are going to be important to you further down the line.
I love that. Are there any other questions?
No, that's it.
Wow, we're a little over.
Yeah, only 4 minutes over. Wow. I thought we
Wow.
were going to talk for ages.
Yeah.
Like some of these topics are super deep as well. And I think, I think we covered a lot today.
Yeah, we have. There's still a lot that we could talk about, but we are over time. So yeah. Did you want to wrap up?
Okay, sure. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for attending. We really appreciate it. We've got friends on here. We've got Inspire Me's, of course. We've got previous team members, and you guys have all taken precious time out of your day, Father's Day, in fact, to turn up to our talk. So we hope that it's been something of value. We really hope that there's been some things that we learned along the way that is going to help you guys if you guys are starting up your own business, or even just give you some insight into how, we stumbled and fell a lot of times. And I think a lot of the stuff we really wanted to share from the heart, because we don't have the opportunity to do this on Instagram, to really get like super honest about how our business failed, for example. That's just not content that we put out on social media. Unfortunately, we need to normalize that, talking about failures more. But we hope you found it of value. So Amanda Wardrop says, thank you so much. This was awesome. Laura says, thank you so much. Maria says, thank you so much. Looking forward to your next adventure. Johnny, hi, Johnny. That was brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you, everyone, for your lovely comments. Fian Meta says, thank you. This has been brilliant. We really hope it's been useful, but please let us know if you'd like us to do another one of these and go into more detail. Any of the stuff we've already shared can definitely go on to separate tangents as well. And we just want to be here for you guys. I think what we find the most meaningful is really being able to share our voices and our content and inspire people. Ultimately, we're just trying to inspire people. I don't know if we're successful at all, but we're really just trying. So if it's not just sharing like our staycations and like fun stuff like that and having K-pop parties, which is of course really fun, this is the meaningful stuff. This is the real stuff. This is our every day, every day we struggle. And even on fun days where we're like doing supposedly fun things, we can definitely lose our way and say, like, is this even worth it? Like, are we doing anything productive right now? And I think we all struggle with that sometimes, is feeling motivated and productive and like you're doing something meaningful. So thank you. Isaac said, good job. Great listen. And Kathy says, thank you for always being open with us and sharing insight. Thank you, Kathy. Shout out to Kathy and Bethany, who are our OG Inspire Me's from last year, Inspire Me Korea live streaming days. And they were there for us from the very beginning. They both sent us amazing care packages all the way to Korea. And have always been supportive of us, and are actually our moderators on our Discord server. If you haven't joined our Discord server, please do. On our Instagram bio, we chat on there all the time, and like I'm sure everyone is on there. Yeah, true. Okay, cool. Suji says, thank you for sharing. Suhei, sorry. Suhei says, thank you for sharing. It's nice to know more about you both. Thank you for everything you've done for us and continue to do so. Thank you for being a light during this pandemic for me. Oh, that lights us up so much that we've made a little difference. Do you want to wrap up anything? No, just thank you for listening to us. We talk really fast as well, so thank you for listening. And if there's anything, like getting things done faster. Our motto is do more faster. So we talk really fast to each other too. If there's anything that we mentioned that you didn't catch, like the book names or author names or something, you can just DM us on like Discord, and we can send that to you. But thank you for being like the first people to join our first kind of this type of live event. We even set up all of this and this background and new lighting and everything. So we're prepared for a second session if you want it. If you don't want it, it's also fine. Alice will just sleep with this next to her. I just have to and never set this up again. Sidra says, thank you so much for sharing, you guys. You're both such inspirations. I wish you the best of luck for the future. Sidra, thank you, Sidra. Social media team. So thank you so much, Sidra. Much love to you. So we'll let everyone go and enjoy your day. I think it's daytime for everyone. Or night. Still, nighttime for some people. But we're gonna go to sleep soon. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And we will see you guys real soon. Should we take a quick picture together? We should. How do we do that? We should unpin ourselves, and then we can see everyone in one screen. If you can and want to, please do switch on your video. View gallery. Ooh. Yes. Okay, screenshot. Okay, if you can and are willing, put your videos on, and we have to. Okay, cool. Okay, wait. Okay. 3, 2, 1, and now. Okay, done. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Nice to see you.
Take care.